It was a big, big world, but we thought we were bigger. Pushing each other to the limits, we were learning quicker. By 11, smoking herb and drinking burning liquor. Never rich, so we were out to make that steady figure. Once I was 11 years old, my daddy told.
Hello guys, GK Fitness 151 here again, and it's part 2 of my mini-series of postural defects. And today's video is all about lordosis. So we move a little bit further down the spine, to the bottom of your spine actually, to be exact. And we look at the lumbar, which is the bottom of your spine. So, what causes lordosis and what is it? Well, we'll start with what is lordosis. And lordosis, you'll see it somewhere on the screen. Anyway, you'll see it. Lordosis is where the bottom of your spine will begin to curve, and this is due to quite a few things. Some people can just be naturally born with that, or that's just, the posture that's sort of came their way. Another way is weak abdominals or excessive fat around the abdominals, which obviously therefore pushes the abdominals out. So way to look at it is, if this is your pelvis and this is like a normal pelvis, it's sort of tilted forward like that. And some people have it quite serious, some people have it where you can't even notice it. And the reason we have it, the reason some people may find that a bit of a tricky task is because they can't do exercises properly, or they just can't do certain things properly because of this. One of the common things you may not be able to do properly is, say, a squat or a deadlift. And if you can't do these, I do have some other stretches, so I want to mix it up. Everything in this video you can do at home. That's the beauty of it. That's even better, because I know a lot of people don't like going to the gym for whatever reason. So that's why I make these videos, and obviously so people know what I'm talking about. I just like to be able to help people out. So that is what is lordosis. Now, what is the cause? Well, we've already sort of been through the causes, but just to reiterate that, it is usually down to an excessive weight beared around the abdominals, or the abdominal wall. And this is both visceral and subcutaneous fat. I think it's subcutaneous fat or subcutaneous. Well, anyway, it's subcutaneous fat, I think it's called. And visceral fat is the fat that is behind your muscles. So the more of that you've got, the more at risk you are at, say, diabetes, strokes, cancers. The list literally goes on. So the more visceral fat you have, the worse that is. And I'm also looking at a brilliant diet plan to help, obviously, people to lose weight properly and also be able to build muscle on it as well. So it's going to take a bit of time. I'm still pretty hard in researching it, and yeah, I'm coming up with some brilliant results. So I'm currently on a diet like that myself, and it's more getting rid of the water weight. It's about a week that I've been on it, and I'm finding out different ways to use it properly. But I got weight today. When I first started, I was 74.4 kilograms, and now, after being a week, I am 73.7. So there you go, lost a kilogram. So that's working well. So when that's completely done and dusted, I will be making a video on that, and it'll be split into quite a few parts, because it is pretty difficult to get your head around at first, but I'm going to try and break it down and make it easy. Anyway, so yeah, visceral fat is the fat behind your muscles, and then there is subcutaneous fat, which is basically what stops you from being able to see them abs. And that's stubborn fat as well. So I'm looking at ways to burn that properly as well, because that's always been an issue for me. But it's starting to come along well, and the diet and everything's working. But yes, that is the two types of fat that you will find behind and in front of the muscles. Okay? And basically, the more of a belly you've got on you, or the more overeating you do and the fatter you become, the more that your spine goes from this to this, and it will start to curve. And when it starts to curve and it pulls your pelvis forward, that is when things can start to go tricky and a bit nasty. So I'm going to be showing you guys exercises how to get rid of that and how to combat that. Okay, so we will be starting off with a hip flexor stretch, and it is a bit similar. You will notice it, you might notice it from stretches you do, like say a lunge. It reminds me of a lunge, but it's not quite a lunge. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into that exercise. This is the what's it called? This is the stretch for your hip flexor, and with it being a hip flexor stretch, it's going to be ideal for your lordosis. And I myself do have a tiny inkling of lordosis, and that could be for a number of reasons. That could just be because that's just how it's gone. Like, I've obviously been training a bit more of one thing, but that's what happens, posture and balance. Also, it could be the fact that I wasn't really training my core as much as I should have been, which obviously now getting that sorted. And also, yeah, that's there you go, there's a little bit of a personal insight into myself as a trainer. So, right, so how do we do this exercise? Now, what I was saying, remember, about being at with it being like a lunge, is to have one leg here. In fact, I'll show you the other leg first. This leg here and the other one back. And what you want to do is, you want to be moving it as far as possible, like so. And this will help to basically open up and get your hips firing, and your glutes too. And with it being a hip flexor, your hip flexor is one of the best muscles you can be like stretching right now. And also, if you're going to do it on something that's like a rug or something like that, get yourself something that's going to help your knee, because it does really kill your knee, and that could also lead to problems with your knees, joints, all sorts, if that becomes an issue. So also do that. But for me, just showing you, just because it's just a little brief demonstration, I'm not going to do that. Okay, you want to push forward like so. You can get a trainer to do this with you, or somebody in your house to sort of help you with this, but this is how you should be doing it. And then for 15 to 30 seconds, and then you swap. Now you see my knee there, I don't know if you can see that, but it's got all of the little ziggy-zag lines that my rug has. You don't want that. Also, if you want to make sure you're on a nice sort of a soft thing. Ideally, use something like a pillow, or a cushion, or even a towel. Depending on whether it's going to be if it's going to be nice and cushioned for you, brilliant. Okay, so with the other one, you want to do exactly the same. Make sure you don't rip your shorts though. That's one thing that you don't want to be doing. So all you need to do is exactly the same. You push that out, and you should be able to feel it. But make sure it doesn't hurt. Don't force the stretch. So again, 15 to 30 seconds. This has been one of them videos where my language and my grammar has just been absolutely battered. So that is the hip flexor stretch, and again, this is something that you should do. It's more of a static stretch, so you should be doing that, say, after you work out, because that's when you do a static stretch. Okay, so that was the hip flexor stretch. How did you find that, if you've been doing it yourself? Yeah, it is a bit of a tricky one. So the next one is a deadlift. Now don't worry, this deadlift is a little bit different. And how is it different? That's because it's done with a kettlebell. Yes, believe it or not, you can do a kettlebell deadlift. And I'm about to show you how. Okay, so once again, without further ado, let's do the kettlebell deadlift. Okay guys, so this is the what's it called? This is the stretch for your hip flexor, and with it being a hip flexor stretch, it's going to be ideal for your lordosis. And I myself do have a tiny inkling of lordosis, and that could be for a number of reasons. That could just be because that's just how it's gone. Like, I've obviously been training a bit more of one thing, but that's what happens, posture and balance. Also, it could be the fact that I wasn't really training my core as much as I should have been, which obviously now getting that sorted. And also, yeah, that's there you go, there's a little bit of a personal insight into myself as a trainer. So, Right, so how do we do this exercise? Now, what I was saying, remember, about being at with it being like a lunge, is to have one leg here. In fact, I'll show you the other leg first. This leg here and the other one back. And what you want to do is, you want to be moving it as far as possible, like so. And this will help to basically open up and get your hips firing, and your glutes too. And with it being a hip flexor, your hip flexor is one of the best muscles you can be like stretching right now. And also, if you're going to do it on something that's like a rug or something like that, get yourself something that's going to help your knee, because it does really kill your knee, and that could also lead to problems with your knees, joints, all sorts, if that becomes an issue. So also do that. But for me, just showing you, just because it's just a little brief demonstration, I'm not going to do that. Okay, you want to push forward like so. You can get a trainer to do this with you, or somebody in your house to sort of help you with this, but this is how you should be doing it. And then for 15 to 30 seconds, and then you swap. Now you see my knee there, I don't know if you can see that, but it's got all of the little zigzag lines that my rug has. You don't want that. Also, if you want to make sure you're on a nice sort of a soft thing. Ideally, use something like a pillow, or a cushion, or even a towel. Depending on whether it's going to be if it's going to be nice and cushioned for you, brilliant. Okay, so with the other one, you want to do exactly the same. Make sure you don't rip your shorts though. That's one thing that you don't want to be doing. So all you need to do is exactly the same. You push that out, and you should be able to feel it. But make sure it doesn't hurt. Don't force the stretch. So again, 15 to 30 seconds. This has been one of them videos where my language and my grammar has just been absolutely battered. So that is the hip flexor stretch, and again, this is something that you should do. It's more of a static stretch, so you should be doing that, say, after you work out, because that's when you do a static stretch. But if you want to do that, it's like, say, after you've done your warm-up, saying that, no, I'll just recommend that you do that straight after, because that's the best way to sort of open your muscles up. And if you've been doing a leg day as well, that's another brilliant thing you can do. Or if you're in the house and you just want to do that, that's completely fine. You know how to do it now, you know what it's for, and I hope you've learned something from that. So that's the end of this sort of part of the video. And that was the kettlebell deadlift. So 2 down, 2 to go. And the next one is going to be a one for your abs. Now, core stability, if you've watched the videos on core stability, you will know exactly how important it is and why it's important. So, if I give you a little rundown on the core stability. So if you think of the foundations of a house, you want your foundations of a house to be pretty much top notch. That's what you want. You want it to be the best it possibly can be. You don't want weak foundations, because therefore the structure of the house is compromised. That is exactly what core stability is for your abs. So we need to get these muscles sort of stabilized. So I have a very good stabilizing exercise for you, and it is a multifidus stabilization exercise. I call it multifidus side to side. It might have a proper name. I've looked and looked and looked, and I just can't find a name for it. And I'm pretty sure I did get told the real name for it, but I just can't remember. So that's what I know it as. Once you start seeing the movement, you may know what it is yourself. Okay? So, yet again, without further ado, let's do it. Okay guys, so now I have a fit ball right here. And what we're going to do with this fit ball is exactly what it says on the tin. We're going to work our abs with this. Now, believe it or not, this is the multifidus that we're using. And the reason we do this is to help to stabilise your core. So it all works hand in hand. And if you have watched me core stabilisation videos, you will know exactly how to stabilise your core. And this will help very, very can't even speak today. It will help you quite a lot in terms of getting rid of lordosis or helping to correct lordosis, as well as the other exercise I've got to show you. So let's get into this bit. So, fit ball, ideally this size, because it's very, very easy to practice with. But again, I think it's preference. If you don't want a big ball, use a smaller one, but it's at your own discretion really. So if you get injured, that's not my fault. And also, let's get it done. So, if you come onto the ball like so, and your legs want to be straight, as you can see my leg is here, and they want to be equal as well. So your legs ideally want to be about shoulder width apart. And if you can't quite get them where you need them to be, or you can't quite keep track of where they are, do this next to a wall if possible. So if I was to move back, I could touch the radiator and do it from there and get a bit of a feel for it. So once you're on the ball, get yourself nice and balanced in a nice position. And what you want to do after that is, you want to move side to side, like so. But obviously you're not using your legs for this, you are simply just moving your hips. You're using your hips to twist. And the reason for this is to give you more stabilisation and help you with better balance. That is the whole point of a core stabilisation exercise. This also helps to strengthen your abs and your core. So if you want to do this, I would recommend doing 5 this side, 5 that side. Try and go as far as you can to the side without falling, of course. But again, that's trial and error, and that's getting better stabilisation. So if that is to be the case and you get knocked off, just keep doing it. Practice is everything. Practice makes perfect. So if we go down to this side, as far as you can, but try not to lift your legs up like that to balance, because it's all about down your midsection, okay? And we don't want to be doing this either. So go down as far as possible, like so. And you want to do 5 on each side. I'd recommend, ideally, to give yourself a bit more endurance, to do between 12 to 15 repetitions, and do 3 sets of these, or however many you feel like you want to do, but that would be a recommendation. And you will begin to feel, after a while, that you are starting to get better at the balance, and you're not going, oh, like that all the time. You will find that you are a lot better balanced, and you can go a lot further to one side. And once that becomes the case, then you know you are stabilising your multifidus properly. So that is the multifidus side to side. I've forgotten the name for it. It will come to me, and if it does, I'll put it in the description. But that is the multifidus side to side stabilisation exercise. And that was the multifidus side to side stabilisation exercise. Now you may remember that one from something else, whatever that may be, and if you do, excellent, that is really good. So what next? Well, my final exercise I have to show you is a squat, and it's not a normal squat, it is a, wait for it, it is a kettlebell squat. So why is it a kettlebell squat? Because I find kettlebell squats to be easy to draw you a little bit, you know. I find it easy to go back on your heels with a kettlebell squat. But if you don't want to use a kettlebell, do a normal squat, and I will show you a different variation of them. I've done this before in videos. Obviously a seated one, so you go from being seated to standing up. Then you'll move into a normal squat, and then you can progress into this. But I will show you that anyway, and I'll show you 2 reps of each variation. Okay, so finally, last one, but finally, without further ado, here is, mine's going off funny today, here is the kettlebell squat. Okay guys, so now we're going to do the final one, and that is, we're going to be doing the squat. We're going to be doing the kettlebell squat. And what is the whole point of doing a kettlebell squat? Well, it's to help with your lordosis. So if you grab yourself a kettlebell, But yeah, what if you can't, or if you don't know how to squat, or your squat technique is quite bad? Well, we know exactly how to sort that. So let's get on with that. So if you can't do a normal squat, I've shown this before, but what you want to do is, you want to sit down, obviously sitting straight, chest up, back straight, head up, and then you want to get up, and then get back down. And what you can see here is you get used to doing the squat movement. Now you can have your hands on your knees, I don't know why we want to, but you can have them here or stretched out. Ideally, again, it's preference. So that's what we do. And then after we've done that a few times, we'll start to get them to go a little bit before that. So you go down, stay there, and then back up. So that's if you can't do a squat. That's one way to learn how to do a squat, is to go right to the beginning. And then after that you do a normal squat. Like I'm just about to show you it now. So for a normal squat, it's exactly the same, only without the bed, and without the chair sort of scenario. So chest up, back straight, head up, and what you want to do is, you want to have your legs shoulder width apart, and your feet want to be pointing straight. And what you want to do is, you want to be able to get into this little gap here. You know, you don't want to be like this, because even Houdini himself could not get into that gap. So, obviously the broader you are, the wider you're going to have to move your shoulders. Move your shoulders, the more you're going to have to move your legs. Okay? So, here we go. Have your arms here, I have them stretched out. You want to come down, and when you come down, try to come back on your heels. We don't want your knees going past your feet. Okay? So when you go down like so, and then back up. Like so. The further down you can go, brilliant. But obviously, if you've never done one before, start off here, then move on to there, and now I'm about to show you a kettlebell one. So for this one, I'm just going to use a 16, simply because of the fact I want you guys to be able to get the best out of this exercise. So for a kettlebell front squat or a goblet squat, what you want to do is, you want to do the exact same as what we've done before, only this is going to be a little bit more difficult in terms of how you grab the kettlebell. When you do grab the kettlebell by the horns, which is down the side, not by the handle at the top. Okay, and it will be explained why. So, come down, grab the kettlebell, come back up, and start from here. Right, so what we want to do now is, legs evenly spread apart, feet pointing straight, chest up, back straight, head up, back down, into the squat, and then back up, like so. And then when we're done with the kettlebell, come back down, put the kettlebell down, and you are okay. So that's how you do the kettlebell squat. And also, you're getting a bit more for your money this time, or you're getting a bit more for your view and pleasure, because of the fact that you're getting the simplest regression, then you're getting a normal one, then you're getting a progression. So they will all help with lordosis. So, thanks for watching. And that was the kettlebell squat. So how did you find that? Was that good? Was that a good variation? If so, brilliant. That's exactly what I want. And that brings me to the end of the video as well. So, with that all being said, try these exercises out. They're there for a reason. Once you've tried these exercises out, let me know how you got on. And if you do like the video, you know, you'll see it later on in the video, so there's no point in me just saying it. But without further ado, thanks for watching.
I let it go back to when we played as kids, but things changed. That's the way it is.
That's just the way it is.
That's the way it is. I see no changes, all I see is racist faces. Misplaced hate makes disgrace to races. We under, I wonder what it takes to make this one.